Now joined by Charles Scharf of the men's indoor track and field team. Charles' indoor season started this past weekend with a meet over at VMI. He ran the 5K, 14:55 the time, second fastest in program history. Just what was working so well on Saturday afternoon?
We were still coming off a cross country season, so we were still trying to use up all the fitness that we had. So we're still in shape from cross, and so that really benefits you in a longer track race like the 5K. So what was really working well was that we were still fit, and then we were dropping a bit in mileage because it's the end of the year. So things were just coming together at the right time to allow us to run a pretty fast time at the start of the year.
So let's go back a few weeks ago. You got to run at the national championship. Talk about the whole experience being in Michigan. The conditions maybe not the best for racing, but still being able to put together a good performance and kind of having that quick transition right into track just a few weeks later.
Yeah, so Nationals was really exciting. It was a really unique experience. It's not very often you get to run in those types of conditions, and so it really made it for a unique and challenging cross-country race, and so that was really fun. Made the environment really interesting, and so that went well. We won it a little bit better, but it was still a very, very good race, so you can't really be too mad about that. And then, yeah, we switched right into racing track season. Couple weeks down, and we were right into indoor track. And so now, well, we're gearing up for a little bit of a longer break after this race to then build up into the winter for the rest of the indoor and outdoor seasons.
So kind of what are you going to use this time off? Because you had the meet this past weekend. Now you don't compete again until the middle of January. So you have a little bit of time to kind of ramp up speed training a little bit, but also try not lose that fitness. Still get in the holidays and everything mixed in. What are you going to use the next few weeks to really hone in on?
Yeah, so for the next few weeks, we're going to take about a 5 to 7 day break just to reset the body after a long cross season because we've been running since about May and June all the way through December. So you take a little bit of time off, and then we're going to jump back into it, building up a little bit of base for the last couple of weeks of December, and then starting in January, we're going to build the base back up and start focusing more on some faster leg turnover stuff because you're still fit from cross country season. You still have all that base that you built in the last couple months. So now it's transitioning to some shorter races and building up the leg speed a little bit.
As the season continues to go along, do you want to find yourself in particular races throughout the year? You want to stay more in distance, maybe drop into some mid-distance races, or where do you see yourself come the end of indoor track, and what do you want to accomplish come outdoor track as well?
Yeah, so for indoor track, I'd like to still focus on the 3K and 5K, which are the two distance events indoors. Maybe do a mile at some point because it's just an enjoyable event to run every now and then. But there's a couple meets I'm really looking forward to. We might be going up to BU to race at the Valentine Invitational, which is a really historic race, a great field. And so we maybe target some serious times at that one. I'd like to find myself back at the national meet, come indoors again, and see what we can do there. And that pretty much the same for outdoor. I'd like to find myself back at the national meet, see what records we can get in the process, and put some things together for really special indoors and outdoor season. Yeah.
He's Charles Scharf of the men's indoor track and field team and one of our GeneralSports.com athletes of the week. Charles, thanks for joining us, and best of luck when you finally get back to competing in a few weeks from now.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Now joined by Mary Schleusner of the women's basketball team and one of our GeneralSports.com athletes of the week. Mary came off a career day on Saturday, had 28 points, 10 rebounds in a win over Virginia Wesleyan. Just talk us through Saturday's game and kind of what you saw out on the floor.
Yeah, so with every point there came an assist, so I was always just in the right place at the right time. Luckily, that's how the offense sort of worked out. And a lot of those points, I think, that weren't the foul shots that I had, just came from under the basket, either passes from Sarah Zimmerman gave me a couple, as well as our guards had really good entry passes to the post, which was nice. And then there was a couple high to lows from Catherine Vandiver, which really helped. And so lots of post movement and lots of entry passes were really helpful. I mean, it was just a couple easy off the backboard lob shots, which were very nice to hit.
So now your team sits at 6-2, 5-0 in conference play. It's been a strong start to the year for a group full of a lot of young players like yourself. Just how's this team been able to kind of gel together in the first part of the season?
It's been super fun. I think everybody, before every game, the coaches tell us to have just a good time and to go out and enjoy the game. And a lot of the senior captains like to remind us of why we're actually here, and that is to play the game that we love. And so I think hearing that before every game helps. And 6-2 is great. I am super proud of the team. And on those 2 losses, we were super close. I mean, we went into overtime with Mary Washington. That was a really good game. But, I mean, they were good losses. We learned a ton, and we kept moving forward.
In your first collegiate season here, what's been the biggest change or difference from the high school to the college level?
I think I would have to say everybody's drive to play the sport. In high school, a lot of the time, it was girls that are playing for another thing on their resume or for something to do. But to be on the court with girls that really want to be there, that love the game, that want to get better and want to push you and push themselves at the same time, it's super fun and it's just super beneficial to everyone's game.
And then finally, how do you keep this good momentum going? Obviously, through 8 games, you have a little time now with finals and everything else and the holidays. But really, how do you carry the good momentum you've established in the early part of the season into 2023?
Yeah, I definitely think it starts with practice. I mean, ever since we lost against Mary Wash, we sort of had a talk to start pushing each other in practice. And so these next couple practices over winter break and when it's just going to be us on as a team over winter break, I think that's going to be helpful so we can sort of bond as well as push each other during practice as we have so much time together before our next game.
She's Mary Schleusner of the women's basketball team, one of our GeneralSports.com athletes of the week. Mary, thanks for joining us and best of luck the rest of the year.
Thank you so much.